This is a steal for the Seattle Seahawks. A star running back has suddenly become available. And if this actually happens, it would shake up the future of the franchise. We are talking about a move that would replace our Super Bowl MVP. Today, we are breaking that all down, why this name is surfacing, and why this is such a great move for the Seahawks. What is up, 12s? Hope you're having a great day from wherever you are tuning in here. Kyle Guerrero here, host of Seahawks Digest. We break down everything Seattle Seahawks news related, rumor related, as it is happening in real time. And boy, do we have a controversial episode for you guys here today, because we are talking about why the Seattle Seahawks should let Kenneth Walker walk and sign Travis Etienne. But before we dive into all of the facts, we are only 18 subscribers away from breaking 500. So please, if you have a second, hit that subscribe button. It would make my day, and it is free. So let's dive right in. It has just been announced that the Jaguars do not plan to use the franchise tag on running back Travis Etienne. He expects to hit free agency. Etienne will be looking for a new team this offseason, which is interesting because here in Seattle just a few days ago, it was breaking news that we were unlikely to use the franchise tag on Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. The Seahawks have multiple free agents they want to retain and sign. They also will try to extend JSN. There are not enough Super Bowl tax costs that now make using a franchise tag this offseason unlikely. And Mr. GM of the Year, John Schneider, has already said publicly that he is going to do his best to bring back Kenneth Walker. But with Kenneth Walker winning Super Bowl MVP, his market is now around 12, 14 million, somewhere in there, which is probably a lot more than what the Seahawks want to pay. John was drunk at the parade when they were at Lumen Field doing their celebration. He said Walker tried to negotiate on the stage. Walker came out and said that didn't happen, but whatever. They were just celebrating, having fun. But we're going to dive further into if it makes sense to re-sign Walker, or should we bring in Etienne? First things first, we need to commend Kenneth Walker for the season that he had. And not just the season, that insane playoff run where he was just going nuclear in the playoffs. Anyways, Kenneth Walker finished the season with 127 rushing yards on the ground and 282 in the year. Now remember, he was splitting the workload with Zach Charbonnet throughout the season. It was about 50-50 split somewhere in there. And a lot of the goal line work was given to Charbonnet. So that is why Walker's touchdowns are down to only 5 this year. But if you watch the playoffs, you know the impact K9 had for us. He essentially was our workhorse of the offense. He was getting yards when our passing game wasn't doing anything. He was picking up first downs on 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. It was an insane playoff run by Kenneth Walker. And if we look at his stats since he has joined the Seahawks in 2022, he has been pretty consistent, hitting about 7-8 touchdowns a year, always breaking around that 1,000 yards a year average. He's not doing too much in the air, but still around 250 to 300, still a nice mark. So K9's been really great for us, and every Seattle fan is the biggest Kenneth Walker supporter now after that playoff run. But here's where things get interesting. These are Travis Etienne's numbers this year. Travis Etienne was the starting running back on the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. Jacksonville actually traded their backup running back in Tank Bigsby to give Etienne more work throughout the year. And Etienne rushed for 1,107 yards, adding in 7 touchdowns, and also got 292 receiving yards. So just looking at it, those numbers are pretty identical to what Kenneth Walker put up this year. And Travis Etienne was also a focal point of that Jacksonville Jaguars offense that finished, 11-6, 12-5, something like that. They had a good year and were playing winning football. We did beat them, though, when we played them. And now when we look at Travis Etienne's career, he's very similar to Kenneth Walker. He has around 1,000 yards each year on the ground, hitting that 7-8 touchdown area. He's doing it in the air as well. It's actually pretty similar to Kenneth Walker there in terms of receiving yards, but he is getting more touchdowns as he got 6 through the air for Jacksonville this year. Both of these guys are hot commodities on the free agent block this offseason. Look at all the teams that are interested in one or both of them. The Seahawks, Broncos, Chiefs, Bears, Jets, Titans, Cowboys, Browns, the Giants. It's like these guys are very hot commodities and people are going to pay for them somewhere. And even today, it was reported that the Giants are seriously looking at some of the top running backs, both in the draft and free agency, with Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker both being names to watch there. But here's the article that stands out to me on why I think the Seahawks should just go after Travis Etienne instead of paying Kenneth Walker a bag. The Seahawks should sign Travis Etienne as Kenneth Walker III's replacement. As things stand now, the Seahawks will have 62 million in available cap space. They can certainly afford to keep Walker if they want to, but every penny counts in this league, and pivoting towards a cheaper option also makes sense. Walker is projected to sign a 4-year, $36 million contract, which translates to $9 million per season. Etienne, on the other hand, can be had for just 2 years and $13.6 million, with an average annual value of $6.8 million. And think about this. These are guys that put up very similar numbers last year and, quite frankly, throughout their whole entire career. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be trying to get even more money this offseason, especially coming off of that Super Bowl MVP. And Kenny's really earned it after that playoff run. He deserves to go and get a bag. I think there could be teams that are willing to offer him 12, 13, maybe even $14 million a year. If you think what the top running backs in the league are making in Saquon and Derrick Henry around that 20 million mark, Jonathan Taylor around 16, there's no reason why Kenny couldn't get 13, 14. And Kenny has hype around his name right now after the Super Bowl, where Etienne doesn't really have that same hype right now. And think about running backs. They get injured a lot. So spending 2 years, having a contract with 2 years on it for about $14 million is a lot less risky than a 4-year, $40 million contract. We also need to remember, we have Zach Charbonnet still on his rookie contract for next season. He did tear his ACL, so he's not going to be himself at the beginning of the season, but hopefully around the middle of the year, he kind of gets back into form. But he's going to be another decision that we need to make next offseason if we're going to extend him and re-sign him. The other key thing to keep in mind here is the Seahawks have a lot of off-season decisions to make with Rashid Shaheed, Kobe Bryant, Josh Jobe, Tariq Woolen, on top of having to extend JSN and Devon Witherspoon. So yes, we have a lot of money right now, 62 million. That's nice, but that money is going to go very, very fast. Now, what no one is talking about is just the dollar difference in these contracts. Kenneth Walker is going to be about $25 million more. Again, let's average this out kind of per year contract. Kenneth Walker is going to get $10 million. Travis Etienne is going to be around 6.5, which is like $3-4 million difference. We can add some depth pieces with that. We also can add a backup running back that will be good and have Zach Charbonnet come back mid next year, which means we can have a 3-headed monster in the backfield if we move on to Etienne with the same money we would give Kenneth Walker. And the risk versus reward here is plain and simple. Etienne brings receiving versatility, potentially better third down game, value contract relative to production. He's just the cheaper option with the same production. But the risk here is we lose our Super Bowl MVP and a fan favorite, and we could get backlash from the fans if we do that. And there's consistency questions around Etienne. But if we think before the playoffs and even mid this year or last year, there's always been consistency issues and concerns with Kenneth Walker as well. Kenneth Walker always got injured during or towards the end of the season, and that is why Zach Charbonnet split the workload with him this year, and that is why Kenny was so good come playoff time, because he was able to split that workload. Here's some more interesting news around the Kenneth Walker contract situation. The thought process that I heard from one source that the Seahawks are not going to franchise tag him, but basically going to say, listen, we love you, but you should go out there and get paid. If someone is going to give you $12 to $13 million, you should take it. But if you're down in the $10 million range, come back and talk to us. We will bring you back to that number. Obviously, these are just reports. We don't know what John Schneider has said or is thinking right now, along with other teams. But This really goes to show how much these GMs value an extra $2 to $4 million, because they can really stretch this money in other ways. Now, what we got to watch next is if the Seahawks re-sign Walker or if the Jaguars re-sign Etienne, but I don't see either of those moves personally happening before free agency starts, before both of these players are able to go out and see what their market is. Walker's free agency destination, whether Seattle really pursues Etienne, how Walker's market interest unfolds, impact on draft, free agency, running back priorities. And now it is time for the 12's verdict, where I want to hear from you down in the comments, and I want to debate why or why not you think we should go for Etienne or just re-sign Kenneth Walker. Drop a green emoji down below or comment Walker if you think that is what we should do, or if you think we should do something brand new and shake it up, hit that little blue emoji and comment Etienne. Let me know why you think we should make whatever move, and let's debate it down in the comments. I love going back and forth with you guys. You know my stance on it. I absolutely love Kenneth Walker. I really do. I almost bought his jersey this year. But for how much cheaper Kenneth Walker is, or how much cheaper Travis Etienne is, it really makes sense to go and do a move like that with their similar production levels. And also with the running back position being so volatile due to injuries. I hate to say we have to move on from Walker, but if we can get Etienne for $3-4 million less, I'm all in on Etienne. That's going to do it for this episode of Seahawks Digest. Reminder, we are only 18 subscribers away from the road to 500. So if you can give a subscribe, we would really appreciate it. Till next episode, I'm Kyle Guerrero. Go Hawks.